What's going on, guys? Welcome back to this video. Today we are wrapping up the weaponization room. In the previous video we talked about the task 4, task 5 and task 3. Today we're going to wrap up everything, okay, by taking this practical scenario. So in the practical scenario we have the attached machine contains this web page. So this web page, or through this web page, you can upload a payload, right? Or you can just request the application to or ask the application to request the payload from a link. It depends on how you generate the payload. So basically, let's go back and visit weaponization. So we said that weaponization, guys, is the second stage in the cyber kill chain. And I want to remind you guys that this room is part of the red teaming track in TryHackMe. So guys, weaponization comes as the second phase in the cyber kill chain after reconnaissance. And if you remember, you can get back to the previous videos where we talked about reconnaissance and information gathering. After the attacker has gathered and collected all the information about the target, they are now equipped with all the knowledge about their target weaknesses. So they proceed to the weaponization phase. In the weaponization phase, the attacker either create a specially crafted malware and send it through a phishing campaign. And by the way, sending the malware or how to deliver the malware to the victim or the target is part of the delivery phase. Now, in the weaponization, we either create a specially crafted malware or we just create payloads. Deliverable payloads that contain reverse shells or shells that will call back to the attacker machine or the C2 server. So let's talk about that. And in today's video, guys, we're gonna wrap up everything and we're going to generate different sorts of payload and see how they would be delivered and how they would get executed on the target machine. We would first start with PowerShell payloads. So how do we create PowerShell payloads and how do we guys execute them on the target machine? So basically, the first form of PowerShell reverse shell, guys, are ready scripts. So this one, for example, is a ready PowerShell script that if you create or if you save it on a different file or an output file and upload it to the target machine, it will give you a reverse shell. So some of these shells are available on the net, okay? Some of them are available actually if you subscribe to my channel membership, you will see them all arranged in a single file. So let's grab this one and move on to the machine. So basically here, that when I tried the machine myself. All right, so nano shell. So what I did, as you can see, guys, this is the PowerShell. And make sure to change the IP address to your IP and the port that you will use for the listener. Again, you have this part where you will put your IP and the port. When you are satisfied with the changes, you can just go back. Now, what do you need to do? Now, after you have created your payload, it's ready for delivery. The delivery method discussed in this video are either through file upload or by making the victim request or request the payload. So as you can see, guys, this is a link here. Now you can deliver the payload to your target via a link, or you can just upload it if you are pen testing a web application. You could be interacting with the web application and you found a way to upload payloads, right? So you will proceed and exploit the application by uploading these payloads. Or you can deliver the payload to the target through links. So it's up to you, or it depends on the scenario, actually, to be honest. Now let's go back. So that's the first part. Now we generated the payload. Okay, now the delivery. We need to decide what kind of C2 we will be using. So since this is a simple PowerShell script, okay, it doesn't need a C2. Okay, like command and control, you only need a listener. Now a listener is actually a component of a command and control server. We talked about that in the previous video. So let's fire a listener. The listener will receive the callbacks that the payload makes after it is uploaded to the target machine. So we're gonna go ahead and upload. Oh, no, I'm gonna browse. So basically, just make sure you upload the shell, and now you can browse the shell by appending the shell name or the file name to the path. Now we're gonna browse, and as you can see, guys, we received the callback from the machine. Now ID, so we have the PowerShell prompt here, so we have got access. Now here we moved on from the weaponization phase through the delivery, and now we are in the initial access phase. So ID, okay, PWD, where we are at C app ls. Okay, so this is the root directory, as you can see here. If you go to uploads, we have these shells. Probably these are the shells that we uploaded. Let's cat them. Type yes, as you can see, these are the shells, the PowerShells that we have uploaded. Nice. Now, that's the first way of creating a weaponized payloads. We can use PowerShell. Let's take a look at other examples. We have this one. Let's try this one. Now this, as you can see, guys, is better executed from a command prompt because it invokes the PowerShell command. Let's give it a try. Let's clear and nano shell 2. Let's see here. So here we have to I don't know what's happening. Okay. Let's see where we have to. Let's save this first. And let me use another text editor for this payload. So shell 2. Let's open with mousepad. Alright, so here we have to change the parameters. So we have the port will stay the same, 4555, and we have the IP address. So let's go ahead and find out what is the IP address of ours. This is the IP. We're gonna take this and we're gonna change this here. Okay, we're gonna save that. And we're gonna go back, and this time let's make the application request the payload through a URL. So how do we do that? We're gonna have to create a web server. So using a web server with Python, here as you can see we have a web server running. Now the payload will be actually downloaded by the application by requesting this URL. So we're gonna grab my IP address and go here. So we're gonna say go to this URL. Okay, let's see here. So no, 8,000, not 88. So we will change that to 0, and let's see, send. And my web server received the request. That's perfect. Now we have one thing more to do, which is executing the payload. So we're gonna go back here, nc lvp 4555, prepare the listener, or whatever the suite you are using, and here we're gonna let's go back to the web server, make sure that it is delivered. So get fine. Now we're going to go back here and we're gonna say shell 2 ps1. Looks like it hasn't been executed. Let's use wget. Okay, let's use wget. So as you can see here, we cannot execute commands. We cannot use wget here because wget is a command, and in order to make the application execute wget, we should have an access. But here we don't have an access. We are in the weaponization and delivery phase. So it looks like the payload has not been executed. It has been downloaded, but it hasn't been executed for some reason. Let's go back. Yeah, we haven't received any shell. But if we, let's stop the web server. Let's go to uploaded this time. See if this will work. So it didn't work. Fine. Let's go back to the original method here and upload the payload using the upload form. See if this will work. You see, not all delivery methods are can work in a given scenario. So you have to choose a given delivery method and rely on it. Upload, so it has been uploaded. Now if we go to shell 2 ps1, so the problem is from the shell itself. So it didn't work, probably guys, because it actually here invokes Powershell with no execution policy, and then it asks, so this one is designed to be executed from a command line. Okay, since we don't have access yet to the target machine, we cannot execute this. So same with this one, it should be executed from a command line on the target machine. Alright, other methods to create PowerShell payloads is through NiShank. Nano shell 3. Let's see what we need to edit, what kind of things we have to edit. So we're gonna have to edit on guess what, the IP and the port. So let's take a look with text editor, and here at the end, so we're gonna have to add a line. This line, as you can see at the bottom, we're gonna add this. It's gonna invoke the reverse shell, so we're gonna paste, and here the port will be 4545, and here the IP, let's see, if config, and here's the IP. I'm gonna save that, and here make sure the listener is ready. Okay, browse, upload shell 3. We're gonna go to shell 3 and execute it. And as you can see, this one also worked. So NiShank PowerShell. We have PowerCat. So PowerCat is another method here to deliver PowerShell payloads. Okay, so this is the link, it's from GitHub, and here we're gonna have to start a listener first. Okay, and then we're gonna have to let the target machine execute this command. Now, since we don't have access, this is gonna be tricky. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna copy that. Okay, since the machine only allows you to upload payloads or deliver the payloads through a URL, our only bet to make this work is to have this over as a separate PowerShell script uploaded and executed. This will make the call to my web server, which will host the PowerCat. Okay, and then after the PowerCat is downloaded to the target machine through this command, it's gonna get executed and create a call to my IP on this port. This one should be 4545 to execute CMD. Let's copy that and give it a try. Okay. So CD desktop. So we're going to remove shell 3. And we're going to create shell 4 proxy. Why I call it proxy? Because this is going to be the proxy, or it's going to be the only way to deliver your final shell, which is Powercat. Paste, and here we're going to change the IPs. So your IP will go here. This is the IP. Okay, I'm gonna paste this, and here, okay, we're gonna change that to my IP address. Okay, so this is ready now. Hit save. One last thing, we need to copy the main Powercat into the desktop, or to wherever directory we're gonna start the web server. So we're gonna cd to tools, shells, and here Powercat. Okay, so let's use CP directly, and from here we're gonna copy Powercat. Okay, so where we're gonna copy that to the current directory. So here is Powercat. Yes, here it is. So now we're gonna start the web server. Fine. Let's go back one more time, because I think we're gonna have to edit the port. So here nano shell, and here this one should be 8000. Okay, now the listener is ready to run, and here the web server is running. Now let's go back and upload the proxy shell, which is here. Now let's visit that shell for proxy.ps1. And as you can see, we received a request to download Powercat. Let's see here, and we have received, as you can see, the callback from the payload, and now we have initial access. So it worked. So Powercat worked, Nishang works, raw payloads also work, but just you have to know, guys, how you need to deliver the payload. It depends on the scenario. Now enough with Powershell, right? Let's go and discover other sort of payloads. So in the scenario here, going back, go home. So Powershell, we also have the luxury to upload Microsoft documents. So in the previous video, guys, we saw how we can weaponize a Microsoft Excel document. Okay, now I advise you guys to get back to that video, okay, and see how we created a Microsoft Excel payload that contains a macro or malicious macro that calls a C2 server. In a nutshell, guys, let me just remind you of how we did that. So let me search for macro. Okay, so we can create that document, or Microsoft Excel documents with macro enabled, using two methods. We can just copy a PowerShell script, okay, and this PowerShell script will go into the macro section, or you can generate your own. So basically with this command in MSF Venom, you can just create a VPA payload, okay. That VPA payload will go into the macro section, okay, the macro section of your Excel. So I showed that, guys, in the previous videos. I strongly advise you to get back to it in order to experience or to practice with creating Microsoft Excel payloads, or Microsoft Office payloads. It doesn't matter, Excel or Word, okay. Let's see here what other methods we have. So we have Visual Basic as well. We can also create Visual Basic payloads. So these are the three forms of payloads that can be uploaded. Now what about the visit section here, the URL? So we can also make the application ask or request the payload through a URL. An example here is HTA Payload, which is an HTML application. An HTML application is an HTML code that executes a file. So we also covered that in the previous video. So here, let me search for HTA. Yeah, so we can create that using, as you can see guys, MSF Venom. And with MSF Venom, let's do that. So let's take the command and create an HTA payload. Okay, let's get rid of all the mess here we have. Okay, we can leave the web server running because we're gonna need that later. So we're gonna open a new tab and sudo MSF Venom. Okay, shell 5 this time. The port will be 4545. The IP, we already have the IP address here, so we're gonna scroll up. Let's do it. Now remember guys, there is something very important you have to know. While you create your payloads, make sure to bear in mind that the target's protections play a very big factor in the success of your pen testing. So if you are generating payload and you know from your reconnaissance phase that the target may have security solutions implemented, some firewalls, some IDS, antiviruses, make sure to obfuscate your payload. We also covered obfuscation in previous videos, guys. Make sure to get back to them in order to understand how to obfuscate payloads. Simply use backers and compressors. That's the first step. All right, so we have the payload here. Now the next step, we're gonna have to deliver the payload. So we can deliver the payload, guys, two methods. The first method is we can rely on the web server we have here, okay, running, and we can construct a URL and make the application request that URL. But one thing left is the listener. So we're gonna have to use a listener here to receive the connection. We're gonna use MSF console. Okay, now we're gonna need to set the payload. So the payload here, I'm gonna use my interpreter. Or first use exploit the multi-handle. Set the payload. Now we need the lhost. Make sure the settings in the handler here, or the multi-handler, match the exact same settings you used while creating the payload. If they don't match, it's not gonna work. So lhost, I forgot the one, I know. So set lhost 1. To be honest, my mouse is very weird. It just copies part of the text. I don't know why. You see? I couldn't copy the 4. It just does that with me. It's very something very I don't like it. So set lport 4555 show options lport lhost run. Okay, now deliver the payload. So that's the payload name, shell 5 HTA. So we're gonna go back here. The web server is running now. Again, construct. Yeah, we can use this URL. But instead, we're gonna say here shell 5 and change the extension. Send. Yeah, as you can see, the application has downloaded the shell. But did we receive anything? No, because we need to execute. Oh, as you can see, it is executed. But we have the interpreter session 1 closed, reason died. looks like we have to migrate. So let's prepare the migration session here. We're gonna go to Metasploit, migrate. You're gonna have to migrate to another process, but we don't have access yet. So we're gonna have to run another, maybe the, let's see, in the post exploitation there was, okay, let me find it somehow here. So Metasploit migrate post. Post Windows manage migrate, or it can be found here, I remember, yeah, this one. But we have to make sure that the the shell is received well. So we're gonna, as you can see, it's dying as soon as it's received. Okay, let's trigger that again. So shell 5.hta. Come on, tell me you had something. Run. Yep. All right, so if you encountered a scenario like that where you couldn't get the interpreter session because of that, you can run the migration just before the reverse shell is triggered. Okay, let's exit. It was something in the lines of Metasploit auto start. Yeah, let's see here, auto start. Let's search for that in Metasploit. So search auto start. So it's on Linux only. Run. What was the payload name? Shell 5 HTA. Was it uploaded or uploads the name of the directory? Okay, looks like we're gonna have to do this one more time. So we're gonna go back. I'm gonna request the URL. Send. Okay. So it has been downloaded. Now shell 5.hta. Okay, when this happens, we can go back and change the payload. So set payload. Okay, as Windows, here we have to use x64. Okay, run. And let's see now if it's gonna work. So here, one more time, I'm gonna have to ask you to download the payload, and then we're gonna ask you to execute this. Yeah, so this one worked. As you can see, it's a matter of changing the payload, guys. So here, pwd. Oh, okay, dir. Yeah, so this is the root directory of the application. Now the flag can be found under C users. And who do we have? We have thm desktop, and this is the flag, guys. So here we have covered PowerShell payloads, we have covered HTA payloads, and also we have covered Microsoft macros payloads. So here you go, guys. The weaponization one last thing I want to note, guys, is in addition to PowerShell, Microsoft Documents, Visual Basic, HTML payloads, you can also use other sorts of payloads or other sorts of extensions like Python, PDF. It depends on the scenario. So in our scenario here, it allows only these extensions. Okay. In other scenarios, you may use Python reverse shell, right? It depends on the scenario, guys. So the most important is to understand what is weaponization and how it works and how to deliver your payload. So that was it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will definitely see you later.